Section 1. A Nation Divided. Trump's Return to Power. The 2024 election was unlike any other in recent history. It was a moment that would be etched into the annals of American politics. The 2024 election sent shockwaves through the United States. The results were unexpected, and the nation was on edge as the votes were counted. Donald J. Trump, the 45th president, defied the odds and returned to the White House. His campaign was marked by fiery rhetoric and bold promises. It was a stunning victory. His supporters were ecstatic, believing that their champion had once again triumphed against the establishment. It exposed deep divisions within the American electorate. The country seemed more polarized than ever, with passionate supporters on both sides. The nation held its breath, uncertain of what the future held. The tension was palpable as people from all walks of life awaited the final results. Trump's win was a testament to his enduring appeal. Despite numerous controversies, he managed to galvanize a significant portion of the electorate. He tapped into a wellspring of resentment and frustration. Many felt that their voices had been ignored for too long. Many Americans felt left behind. The promises of a better future seemed distant and unattainable for them. They yearned for a return to a bygone era. Trump promised them that. He spoke of bringing back jobs, restoring pride, and making America great again. The world watched in disbelief. Some celebrated, others despaired. The international community was divided in its reaction to Trump's return. One thing was clear: America had entered uncharted territory. The political landscape was shifting, and the future was uncertain. The political landscape was forever altered. The ramifications of this election would be felt not just in the United States, but around the world. The aftershocks of this election would be felt for years to come. Conversations in cafes, headlines in newspapers, and debates on television would all reflect the profound impact of Trump's return to power. The nation stood at a crossroads, and the choices made in the coming years would shape the future of America.
Section 2. The economy. A driving force for Trump. The economy played a pivotal role in Trump's victory. It was a central theme that resonated deeply with many Americans. Many voters felt financially insecure. They were grappling with the harsh realities of stagnant wages and rising expenses. They saw their wages stagnate. Despite working hard, their paychecks didn't seem to stretch as far as they used to. The cost of living continued to rise. Everyday essentials like groceries, healthcare, and housing became increasingly expensive. Trump skillfully exploited these anxieties. He tapped into the widespread economic discontent and positioned himself as the solution. He presented himself as the champion of the working class. He promised to fight for their interests and bring about real change. He promised to bring back manufacturing jobs. He spoke of revitalizing industries that had long been in decline. He vowed to renegotiate trade deals. He argued that previous agreements had been unfair to American workers and pledged to secure better terms. He pledged to put America first. This message of prioritizing American interests above all else struck a chord with many. These promises resonated with voters. They felt heard and believed that Trump would deliver on his commitments. They were tired of empty promises from career politicians. Years of unfulfilled pledges had left them disillusioned and yearning for genuine change. They were ready for a change. The desire for a new direction was palpable among the electorate. Trump's economic message was simple, direct, and effective. He communicated in a way that was easily understood and relatable. He spoke the language of the working class. His straightforward approach and plain-spoken style made him seem approachable and genuine. He understood their fears and frustrations. He offered them hope. His ability to connect on a personal level made a significant impact. His opponents struggled to counter his economic message. They often appeared defensive and out of touch with the concerns of everyday Americans. They were seen as out of touch. Their focus seemed to be on maintaining the status quo rather than addressing the pressing issues facing the country. They seemed more concerned with Wall Street than Main Street. This perception proved fatal. Voters wanted someone who would prioritize their needs and fight for their economic well-being.
Section 3. Voter Concerns. Tapping into Anxieties. In this section, we delve into how political campaigns, particularly Trump's, have effectively tapped into the anxieties and concerns of voters. These concerns are often deeply rooted in personal and economic issues that affect everyday life. Trump's campaign was laser-focused on key voter concerns. He understood that addressing these concerns head-on would resonate deeply with his base. His strategy was to highlight the issues that were most pressing to the average American. Inflation was a major issue. Gas prices were soaring, making it difficult for families to manage their budgets. Grocery bills were skyrocketing, adding to the financial strain on households. These economic pressures were palpable, and Trump made sure to address them in his speeches. Trump blamed the incumbent administration for these economic woes. He pointed fingers at their policies, arguing that they were responsible for the financial hardships people were facing. This narrative was compelling to many who were looking for someone to hold accountable. He promised to bring relief to struggling families. His message was one of hope and change, promising to alleviate the economic burdens that many were experiencing. This promise of relief was a powerful motivator for voters who felt left behind. Immigration was another hot-button issue. The topic of border security was a significant concern for many voters who felt that the current policies were inadequate. Trump tapped into anxieties about border security. He emphasized the need for stronger measures to protect the country's borders, which resonated with voters who were worried about illegal immigration. He vowed to build a wall and crack down on illegal immigration. This promise was a cornerstone of his campaign, symbolizing his commitment to national security and sovereignty. This message resonated with voters who felt their country was changing too quickly. They were concerned about the cultural and demographic shifts and saw Trump's policies as a way to preserve their way of life. Trump also capitalized on cultural anxieties. He spoke to the fears of those who felt that traditional values were under threat. He presented himself as a defender of traditional values. By aligning himself with religious and cultural leaders, he reinforced his image as a protector of the American way of life. He promised to protect religious freedom. This was a significant issue for many voters who felt that their religious rights were being eroded. He vowed to restore law and order. In a time of social unrest, this message was particularly appealing to those who felt that the rule of law was being undermined. This message appealed to voters who felt their way of life was under attack. They saw Trump as a bulwark against the changes they feared. Trump's ability to tap into these anxieties was masterful. He had a keen sense of the issues that mattered most to his base and addressed them directly. He understood the fears and frustrations of his base. By acknowledging their concerns, he built a strong connection with his supporters. He offered them simple solutions to complex problems. This approach was effective because it provided clear and direct answers to the issues that were causing anxiety. This resonated with voters who were tired of the status quo. They were looking for change and saw Trump as the candidate who could deliver it. His promises of economic relief, stronger borders, cultural preservation, and law and order struck a chord with many, making his campaign a powerful force in the political landscape.
Trump's core supporters were a key factor in his victory. They were fiercely loyal and believed in his message. They were willing to overlook his flaws and turned out to vote in droves. His base was largely composed of white, working-class voters who felt left behind by the economic and cultural changes of recent decades. They saw Trump as their champion and believed he would fight for them. Trump's supporters were energized by his rallies. They were drawn to his charisma and appreciated his willingness to challenge the status quo. They were willing to forgive his excesses. The loyalty of Trump's base was unwavering. They were the foundation of his political success and the key to his return to power.